The early days of King Arthur's reign were clouded in uncertainty, a time when the once great kingdom of Camelot lay fractured by betrayal and strife. The land of Britain was divided into warring factions, each vying for dominance in a land that had been left broken by the fall of the Roman Empire. It was a time of shadows and whispers, a time when hope seemed lost, and the very idea of a united kingdom seemed like a distant dream. But in the midst of this turmoil, a young man was about to rise from humble beginnings to change the fate of a fractured world. His name would become legend, King Arthur. Arthur's early years were a mystery, even to him. Born the son of Uther Pendragon, the mighty king of Britain, Arthur's true parentage was kept secret by his mentor, the wise and mysterious wizard Merlin. Arthur grew up in a small village, unaware of his royal lineage, raised by Sir Ector, a nobleman who took him in as a child. Ector's son, Kay, was Arthur's only companion, and the two spent their days training in the art of combat, never knowing that the destiny that awaited them would be far beyond their imagination. It was the sword that would change everything. One fateful day, Arthur's life took an unexpected turn when King Uther died without a legitimate heir, plunging the kingdom into chaos. Factions from across Britain laid claim to the throne, and civil war broke out. It was a time of anarchy, and the people of Britain desperately needed a leader to unite them. Yet, there was no heir to Uther's throne. In the midst of the turmoil, the great wizard Merlin devised a plan to reveal the true king. In a secluded forest, he placed a massive stone in which a sword was lodged. The sword gleamed in the light of the full moon, bearing an inscription that read, "Whosoever draws this sword is the true king of Britain." It was a challenge that would prove the worth of the next ruler, a test of strength, honor, and destiny. Whoever could pull the sword from the stone would claim the throne, and the people would follow him. News of the sword spread like wildfire, and many of Britain's most powerful lords, knights, and warriors tried their hand at pulling the sword from the stone, but none succeeded. For weeks the kingdom waited, but no one was worthy enough to wield the weapon. It was then that Arthur, still a young man and unaware of his heritage, found himself at the heart of the contest, drawn to the sword by an unknown force. Arthur had no intentions of claiming the throne. He only sought to retrieve the sword for his brother Kay, who had come to the tournament with him. As fate would have it, Arthur, without understanding the significance of the sword, gripped the hilt and with little effort pulled the sword free from the stone. The crowd fell silent, and the air was thick with shock. The once uncertain young man had drawn the sword, and in that moment, Arthur became the rightful king of Britain. However, the triumph did not come without its challenges. Many nobles and lords refused to accept Arthur as their king, questioning his legitimacy and his ability to rule. The young king was thrust into a world of politics, war, and betrayal. Many believed the sword was just a symbol, not a true indicator of worth, and they conspired against Arthur's reign from the shadows. Arthur's greatest strength, however, came from those who believed in him and the ideals he represented. With Merlin by his side, Arthur began to rebuild the shattered kingdom. He was determined not to rule with fear, but with justice. Together with his most loyal knights, Arthur sought to unite the fractured land, restoring Camelot to its former glory. Among the knights who rallied to Arthur's cause were Sir Lancelot, Sir Gawain, Sir Percival, and Sir Galahad, men of honor, strength, and valor. Each knight brought a unique skill to the Round Table, a symbol of Arthur's commitment to fairness and equality. The Round Table was not just a gathering of warriors, but a gathering of equals, where every knight had a voice and where every decision was made with the good of the kingdom in mind. It was here that Arthur's rule took shape, and it was here that his legend began to grow. Despite the unity Arthur sought to create, the kingdom was not free from betrayal. Morgana, Arthur's half-sister, was driven by jealousy and ambition. Her dark magic was a constant threat to Arthur's rule, and she schemed to usurp the throne. Unbeknownst to Arthur, Morgana had secretly raised her own son, Mordred, a young man destined to one day challenge Arthur for the crown. As the years passed, Arthur's kingdom prospered, but the shadows of betrayal never fully disappeared. Most painful betrayal, however, came from within Arthur's closest circle. Sir Lancelot, Arthur's most trusted knight and friend, became entangled in a forbidden love affair with Queen Guinevere, Arthur's wife. This betrayal set in motion a chain of events that would lead to the kingdom's downfall. The love between Lancelot and Guinevere was a passion that could not be contained. reigned, and when Arthur discovered the affair, his heart was broken. The trust between the king and his knight was shattered, and the unity of the Round Table began to falter. In the midst of these betrayals, Arthur's greatest challenge came from his own blood. Mordred, now grown, declared himself the true king of Britain. Fueled by Morgana's dark magic and his resentment for Arthur's rule, Mordred led a rebellion against his father. The final battle was set to take place at Camelot, where father and son would face each other on the battlefield. The battle at Camelot was one of the most tragic moments in Arthur's reign. The once unified kingdom was torn apart by bloodshed and betrayal. Arthur, wounded and heartbroken, faced Mordred in single combat. The two fought fiercely, but in the end, it was Mordred who struck the fatal blow. Arthur, gravely wounded, knew his time had come. With his dying breath, he ordered Sir Bedivere, his most loyal knight, to return Excalibur to the Lady of the Lake, the sword that had granted him power and strength. As Arthur lay dying, he knew that his legacy would live on, not through his death or the fall of Camelot, but through the ideals he had championed: honor, justice, and the belief that a king's power lay not in his sword, but in the hearts of the people he served. His legend would be passed down for generations, inspiring kings, queens, and warriors to come. King Arthur's tale is one of triumph, betrayal, and the enduring legacy of an ideal that transcends time. Though Camelot may have fallen, the lessons of his reign and the values he upheld continue to inspire us today. Arthur's journey reminds us that true leadership is not about power, but about serving others with honor and integrity. His story, like the sword in the stone, is a symbol of courage, and his name will forever echo through the ages. If you enjoyed this story of King Arthur and want to hear more about the legendary figures of the past, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Join us as we continue to explore the fascinating tales of history and dive into the epic adventures of some of the most legendary leaders to ever walk the earth. Stay tuned for more stories and let the legend live on.